How does a husband go from secretly cheating on his wife
I feel so lucky to be here with you.
to being carried into an ambulance while literally stuck to his mistress? That's right, guys. His wife had discovered the affair and secretly replaced the lubricant in his gym bag with industrial-based glue. So how did she pull it off? Let's get right into it. Mark's gym bag sits open on the kitchen island, unzipped, waiting. Clara stands at the sink with a dish towel in her hands, not moving, watching him from 6 feet away with the kind of stillness that looks like patience but isn't. He moves through the kitchen like he owns every square inch of it. Confident, unhurried, he hums something under his breath, some tuneless scrap of a song, and reaches into the cabinet by the fridge for his gym shoes. Clara folds the towel in half, then in half again. Her eyes track him without her head turning. "You're going to be late," she says. Sparring doesn't start till 7. Mark doesn't look at her. He's checking his phone, thumb swiping. Coach texted, said Danny's out with a shoulder thing, so it's just me in the bag tonight. Clara knows there is no coach. She knows there is no Danny. She knows the gym Mark claims to belong to has a 6-month membership freeze on file because she called them herself 3 weeks ago and asked, very politely, whether her husband's account was still active. The woman on the phone had sounded confused. "Frozen since March, ma'am. Is there a problem?" There was no problem. Clara had thanked her and hung up. "Shoulder thing," Clara repeats now, mildly. "That's too bad." "Yeah." Mark zips his gym bag halfway, then stops. He snaps his fingers like he's remembered something urgent, crosses to the hallway closet, and comes back holding a small black case, the kind meant for expensive sunglasses or a nice watch. He unzips it and pulls out a glass bottle with a brushed steel cap. Amber glass, a minimalist label, the kind of bottle that costs $60 and comes wrapped in tissue paper. Clara has seen that bottle 100 times. She has never once seen him use it on a bruise. "Almost forgot this," Mark says, holding it up like he's showing her a trophy. "My shoulders have been wrecked lately. This stuff is a lifesaver for muscle recovery. Deep tissue, you know? Coach recommended it. Way better than the drugstore junk. Muscle recovery," Clara says. "Yeah. You rub it in after, when everything's tight. Prevents the soreness the next day." He drops it into a zippered side pocket of the gym bag, patting the pocket once, like he's tucking a child into bed. "I told you about this, right? The whole recovery routine thing? You might have." He hasn't. Clara has never once, in 11 years of marriage, heard him string together the phrase recovery routine until 4 months ago, which happens to be the same 4 months during which Chloe Reyes was promoted from paralegal to junior associate and started sitting 2 doors down from his office instead of 2 floors below it. Clara has done the math on that particular coincidence more times than she'd like to admit. Mark zips the gym bag the rest of the way and swings it onto his shoulder. He's wearing a fitted gray Henley, dark jeans, and the leather sneakers he bought in Milan 2 summers ago. The ones with the red sole stitching he never wears to actual exercise because he complains they don't have the right support for lifting. He is not wearing gym shorts. He is not wearing a compression shirt. He has no water bottle. He has no hand wraps, no mouthguard case. None of the small, unglamorous debris that accompanies an actual sparring session. What he has, tucked behind his ear where she can smell it from across the kitchen, is cologne. The dark, expensive one. The one he bought after a work trip to Chicago last spring and told her he'd picked up on a whim at the airport. Nobody wears cologne to get hit in the face. Clara sets the folded towel down on the counter, perfectly aligned with the edge. "You smell nice," she says. Mark laughs, easy, unbothered. The laugh of a man who has never once considered that his wife might be paying attention. Just the deodorant. New stuff. Supposed to last longer through a workout. It's very strong for deodorant. "I got the industrial strength kind." He grins at her. The same grin he used the day he proposed. The same grin from their wedding photos. Still handsome. Still practiced. Still working on people who don't know to look past it. "You want me to tone it down?" "No," Clara says. "It's fine." He crosses the kitchen and kisses her on the cheek. Quick. A formality. The way you'd stamp a document. Don't wait up. These sessions run long when Coach is in a mood. I never wait up, Clara says, which is true, though not for the reason he believes. Love you. He's already turning toward the garage door, gym bag riding his shoulder, keys jingling out of his pocket. Love you too, Clara says, and her voice does not waver, does not catch, does not give away a single one of the 4 months she has spent quietly assembling a picture of exactly who her husband has become. The garage door groans open. His car, the black one, the one with the seat warmers he insists he needs even in July, starts with a low, confident growl. Headlights sweep once across the kitchen window as he backs out, and then the sound fades down the driveway, out onto the street, gone. The house goes quiet. Clara stands at the sink for exactly 11 seconds, listening to nothing. Then she walks to the kitchen table, sits down, and pulls her tablet out from beneath a stack of unopened mail where she keeps it, screen down, out of habit. She taps the family sharing app, the one Mark set up himself 2 years ago, after his brother's car was stolen from a parking garage, and he decided the whole family needed peace of mind. He'd insisted on it. Location sharing, always on, no exceptions. He'd made a whole speech about safety. Clara had smiled and told him what a good idea that was. The little blue dot that represents her husband's phone blinks awake on the map. It moves out of their neighborhood, turns left instead of right. Right would take him toward the gym, the real one, the one he hasn't set foot in for 6 months, and merges onto the highway heading downtown, toward the Ashbourne. A boutique hotel with valet parking and a rooftop bar, the kind of place that puts little chocolates on the pillow and charges $400 a night for the privilege. Clara watches the dot crawl steadily east. She does not feel her pulse quicken. She does not feel her stomach drop. She has already grieved this marriage in private, in small increments, over the last 4 months. Grieved it so thoroughly that what's left now isn't heartbreak, it's clarity. The dot slows near the highway exit. Then it stops moving altogether, parked, presumably, in the Ashbourne's underground garage. Clara sets the tablet down on the table, face up this time, and watches the little blue dot sit there, motionless, glowing softly in the dark kitchen. Enjoy your recovery routine, she says quietly, to no one, and reaches for her phone to start a new note. Clara doesn't leave the house immediately. She sits with the tablet a while longer, watching the blue dot hold its position beneath the Ashbourne, and she lets herself confirm, one more time, that this is not paranoia. This is not a hunch dressed up as certainty. The dot has been sitting in that exact garage every Thursday for the last 5 weeks, always between 6:40 and 11:15, always preceded by the amber bottle disappearing into the gym bag. She opens the Notes app and adds tonight's timestamp to the list. 6:52 p.m. Confirmed. 5th consecutive Thursday. Then she closes the tablet, picks up her car keys, and drives to a hardware supply store on the industrial side of town, the kind of place with a gravel lot and a chain-link fence and a sign that still says "Open" in hand-painted letters from some earlier decade. She has already looked up the address. She has already looked up what she needs. She is not a woman who walks into a store without knowing exactly what shelf to go to. The bell over the door rattles when she steps inside. A man behind the counter, 60s, flannel, reading glasses pushed up into thinning gray hair, glances up from a crossword puzzle. "Help you find something. I'm looking for an industrial adhesive," Clara says. "Cyanoacrylate, medical grade, if you carry it, fast curing." The man sets down his pencil, mildly surprised, the way people are surprised when a woman in a cashmere sweater knows the technical name for superglue. "You mean like a crazy glue type thing? Or you talking about the real professional stuff?" "The real professional stuff. What's the application?" Clara has anticipated this question. She has, in fact, rehearsed the answer in the car, turning it over until it came out smooth and boring and unremarkable. "Repairing some ceramic pieces, antiques. I need something that bonds instantly and holds permanently, doesn't yellow, doesn't have a strong odor." The man nods slowly, already turning, already walking toward a back aisle lined with squeeze bottles and pump dispensers. You want the 4014 or the 4041, honestly, for ceramics. Medical suppliers use the 4014 for topical wound closure. It's the fastest setting stuff we carry. Cures in about 10 seconds against skin contact. Well, against any moisture really. Body heat, humidity, doesn't matter. The second it touches something wet, it just goes. 10 seconds, Clara says. Give or take. Some of the thinner viscosity ones go even faster. He pulls a small brown box off the shelf, opens the flap, and shows her rows of clear glass vials nested in foam. This here is basically what surgeons used before they had the fancy stuff. Clear as water till it cures, then it's like glass. Once it sets, you're not getting it apart without acetone or a proper solvent, and even then it takes some doing. Clara picks up one of the vials and turns it in the light. The liquid inside is glassy, faintly viscous, colorless. She thinks of the amber bottle in Mark's gym bag, of its clear gel consistency, the way it catches light on his hands when he pretends to need it. This would work for ceramics, she says, more to herself than to him. Oh, it'll work for anything you don't want coming apart again. The man chuckles, not unkindly, just a man enjoying his own small joke. My wife used it once to fix a vase her sister gave her. Wanted it to look untouched. This stuff does that. Dries totally clear. No residue. No smell to speak of once it's cured. You want the bigger bottle or the small applicator size? The applicator bottle. Something with a narrow tip, if you have it. I want to be precise. Sure thing. We got a squeeze bottle with a needle tip nozzle. Real popular with the model building guys. Controls the flow real nice. He reaches to a lower shelf and produces a slim white bottle, unlabeled except for a warning sticker running down one side. This'll do a job like that no problem. You'll want gloves, by the way. Get this on your fingers by accident, and you'll be explaining to somebody at urgent care why your hand is stuck to your keys. I'll be careful. Most people say that. He rings her up at the register, tapping the numbers into an old mechanical till that dings when the drawer pops open. That'll be $14.85. Clara pays in cash. She has thought about this too. The flat, business-like decision that a credit card statement is a kind of diary, and she does not intend to leave one lying around for anyone, least of all a divorce attorney, to read later. You need a receipt? No, Clara says. Thank you. She carries the small paper bag out to her car and sets it on the passenger seat, upright, like it might spill. It doesn't weigh anything. It is astonishing to her, driving home under a sky gone the color of a bruise, how little something can weigh and still change the entire shape of a night. At a red light 2 miles from home, she takes the amber bottle's dimensions from memory. She emptied and refilled a decoy bottle of hers with water last week just to test the volume, timing herself, working out exactly how long it takes to drain 60 milliliters through a narrow neck without spilling, and she runs the numbers again in her head. The lubricant bottle holds about 2 ounces. The glue bottle holds 4. She will have more than enough. She will, if anything, have to be careful not to overfill it, because a bottle that doesn't sit quite right in his hand is a bottle he might actually stop and look at. She has one more stop before home. A pharmacy, this one closer, brighter, full of families picking out toothpaste and greeting cards. Clara walks past all of it to the small aisle near the back, where they keep travel-sized toiletries, and she finds an empty labeled bottle, a spare, meant for decanting shampoo on a flight, that matches, almost exactly, the neck width and pour rate of Mark's amber glass one. She buys it along with a box of nitrile gloves, pays with cash again, and drives home. The house is dark and quiet when she pulls into the driveway, the porch light glowing over an empty stretch of concrete where Mark's car should not be back yet for hours. Clara carries the 2 small bags inside, sets them on the kitchen counter, and stands there a moment in the silence, looking at them. Tomorrow is not the plan. Tonight is not the plan either. Not yet. Thursday is the plan. Thursday, when the ritual repeats itself exactly as it has for 5 weeks running. The gym bag, the amber bottle, the cologne, the lie about Coach and Danny, and the shoulder that was never actually hurt. She opens a kitchen drawer, the one with the extra batteries and the takeout menus nobody uses anymore, and slides the small white bottle of cyanoacrylate to the back, behind a stack of unused coasters where it will sit, patient and colorless and completely unremarkable, until next Thursday evening. Upstairs, she can hear nothing but the house settling, the hum of the refrigerator, her own steady breathing. She pulls out the tablet one more time before bed and checks the blue dot. Still parked at the Ashbourne. Still there. Still confirmed. Still exactly where she expected it to be. Clara closes the tablet, turns off the kitchen light, and goes upstairs to wait out the rest of the week.
Now, hold on a second, my dear, just a quick moment. If you're still here, it truly means a lot to me. But here's something that surprised me. Almost 98% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. 98. It's like enjoying something and never saying a word about it. So here's my small request. Tap the subscribe button. It's completely free, and it just means you won't miss what comes next. And if you've enjoyed this, leave a like as well. It really helps more than you think. Thank you for staying with me. Now let's continue.
Thursday comes the way Clara knew it would. Ordinary on the surface, the mail arriving at 11, the dishwasher running its afternoon cycle, Mark texting at 4:15 to say he'll be home a little late, traffic on the bridge. Clara texts back a single word, okay. By 6, he's home, moving through the house with the same restless energy he carries every Thursday, checking his phone twice a minute, humming that same tuneless hum. He showers first, always before the gym, which Clara noted months ago and filed away as one more small absurdity nobody bothers to explain to themselves when they're lying. The water starts upstairs. Clara hears the pipes groan through the wall, that familiar shudder, and she checks the time on the oven clock. 6:19. She has maybe 10 minutes. She has done this in her head so many times that her body already knows the choreography before she consciously decides to move. She goes to the hallway closet, where the gym bag sits half-packed, the way it always sits by Thursday evening, waiting for its final items. She unzips the side pocket. The amber bottle is there, exactly where it always is, brushed steel cap catching the closet light. Clara carries it to the kitchen. She sets it on the counter next to the sink, pulls a pair of nitrile gloves from the box in the drawer, and works them onto her hands, snapping the cuffs against her wrists. Upstairs, the water is still running. Mark sings something off-key, badly, happily, a man with absolutely nothing on his conscience that he's aware of. Clara unscrews the steel cap. The lubricant inside is clear, faintly viscous, catching the overhead light in a slow, syrupy shimmer as she tips the bottle over the sink. It comes out slower than she expects, thicker than the water she used to test with, and she has to squeeze gently, working it free from the sides of the glass, watching it slide down the drain in long, clear ribbons. She runs the tap for a few seconds after, rinsing the residue, then holds the empty bottle up to the light to check for streaks. Clean. Good. From the drawer, she retrieves the small white applicator bottle, its needle-tip nozzle capped, the warning sticker still bright along its side. She unscrews the cap and sets it on a folded paper towel. She does not want a single drop landing anywhere she hasn't accounted for. The water shuts off upstairs. Clara's hands do not move faster. She has trained herself, over the last 5 days, to move at exactly one speed, regardless of the clock, a habit she picked up years ago, doing depositions for the firm she used to paralegal at, back before Mark decided her working made him look bad to his partners. Fast hands make mistakes. Steady hands make history. She tips the adhesive bottle over the empty amber glass and squeezes. It flows out thin and glassy, almost identical in color to what she just poured down the drain, pooling at the bottom of the bottle and climbing slowly up the sides as she keeps the angle steady. She counts silently. 1, 2, 3, watching the level rise, comparing it by eye to the fill line she memorized from 5 weeks of watching him uncap this exact bottle. Upstairs, footsteps cross the bathroom floor. A drawer opens. Cologne. She can almost smell it already, even through the walls, even before he's touched the bottle, because some nights she swears she can smell that expensive lye coming before it's even left his skin. She stops squeezing when the level looks right. sets the applicator bottle down, screws the steel cap back onto the amber glass, wipes the outside with the paper towel. No drips, no residue, nothing that would bond her own fingers to the counter if she got careless in the next 4 seconds, and gives the bottle one firm shake, watching the liquid inside slosh the way lubricant sloshes, slower and heavier than water, exactly right. She sets it back into the gym bag's side pocket, angled the same way it was angled before, zips the pocket 3/4 closed, the way he always leaves it, not fully sealed, because Mark is not a man who finishes zipping anything all the way. The gloves come off inside out, the way she read online they're supposed to, and go straight into a sandwich bag she's kept folded in her back pocket all day. She ties it off and tucks it into her purse. The applicator bottle goes back into the drawer, behind the coasters, cap tightened, exactly where it's lived all week. By the time Mark comes down the stairs, hair still damp, wearing the gray Henley again, the same Milan sneakers, cologne trailing half a room ahead of him. Clara is at the stove, stirring nothing in particular, in a pan that doesn't need stirring, and the kitchen looks exactly the way it looked 20 minutes ago. "Smells good," Mark says, not looking at the pan, already reaching for the gym bag. "It's not much, just using up some vegetables before they go bad. You're always so on top of stuff like that." He swings the bag onto his shoulder, pats the side pocket once, that same proprietary little pat, like he's checking on a pet, and grins at her. "I might actually get a good workout in tonight. Feeling loose." "Loose is good," Clara says. "Coach says my shoulder's basically back to normal. Just gonna use the recovery stuff after, as a precaution. Better safe than sorry, right?" "Better safe than sorry," Clara agrees, and turns the stove down to low, though there was never anything on it that needed lowering. Mark crosses the kitchen, kisses her cheek, quick, careless, the same stamped document kiss as always, and heads for the garage door. "Don't wait up. Coach is doing extra rounds tonight, some kind of endurance thing." "I never wait up," Clara says again, and this time, there's something almost light in it, something close to amusement, though Mark doesn't notice. Mark never notices. The garage door groans open. The car starts, that low, confident growl, and backs down the driveway, headlights sweeping once across the kitchen window, exactly like every other Thursday. The sound fades. The street goes quiet. Clara stands at the sink a moment, peeling off nothing, because there's nothing left on her hands to peel. She pulls out her phone instead, opens the timer app, and sets it, not for any particular reason of urgency, but because she wants to know, precisely, how long it takes. She has always wanted to know things precisely. She sets it for 2 hours, and taps start. Then she goes to the kitchen table, pulls out the tablet from under the mail, and watches the blue dot pull out of the neighborhood, turn left instead of right, and merge onto the highway heading east, toward the Ashbourne, toward Chloe, toward a bottle sitting quietly in a gym bag, with a needle-tip nozzle's worth of medical-grade cyanoacrylate, curing patiently in the dark, waiting for body heat. Clara pours herself a glass of wine, sits down at the table, and watches the dot travel steadily toward downtown. "Have a good workout," she says softly, to the empty kitchen, and takes a slow sip, while the timer counts down beside her, red numbers ticking silently toward whatever happens next. The hotel room at the Ashbourne is quiet, except for the low hum of the air conditioning and the muffled sound of the city 16 floors below. Mark tosses his jacket over the back of a chair. Chloe is already sitting on the edge of the bed, pulling the pins out of her hair one at a time, watching him with a smile she's practiced enough times now that it comes easy, automatic, the smile of someone who has stopped questioning whether this is a good idea. "You're late," she says. "Traffic on the bridge." "You know how it is this time of night." Mark drops the gym bag by the nightstand and sits down beside her, reaching for her hand without looking. "Worth the wait, though. Always is. You say that every week. Because it's true every week." Chloe laughs, low, and leans into him. "One of these days, I'm going to hold you to actually being on time." "One of these days," Mark agrees. "I might actually manage it. You never do, though. I've got a lot going on. Work's insane right now." "Is it the Hendricks account again?" "The Hendricks account is always something. He shrugs out of his shirt, tossing it over the back of the same chair his jacket landed on. I'll tell you about it later. Right now, I'd rather not talk about work. Fine by me. The next several minutes pass the way they've passed every Thursday for the last 5 weeks. Familiar, unhurried, the two of them moving through a routine they've refined into something almost choreographed. There's a comfort to it that neither of them examines too closely. The comfort of two people who have decided, without ever quite saying so out loud, that consequences belong to some other version of their lives, some version that isn't currently in this room. You smell different tonight, Chloe murmurs at one point. New cologne? Same one. Maybe you're just noticing it more. Maybe. At some point, Mark reaches over without looking, unzips the side pocket of his gym bag by feel, and pulls out the amber bottle, setting it on the nightstand within easy reach the way he always does. It's such a small, habitual motion that neither of them registers it as anything worth commenting on, until Chloe glances over and catches the brushed steel cap catching the lamplight. You're prepared, she says. I like to be thorough. Mark grins at her, the same practiced grin that's worked on every woman who's ever mistaken his confidence for charm. Nothing worse than things getting uncomfortable halfway through. Since when do you care so much about comfort? Since I started caring about doing this right. That's a very diplomatic answer. I'm a diplomatic guy. You're really not, Chloe says, laughing, and pulls him down toward her. The lights are low, the city noise outside reduced to a distant hum, and neither of them is paying attention to the bottle anymore, beyond the ordinary, practiced motion of reaching for it. The same motion from 5 identical Thursdays. Nothing about tonight distinguishing itself from any of the ones before it. Mark thumbs off the cap without looking. The liquid that comes out looks exactly the way it's supposed to look. Clear, faintly glossy, catching the lamplight the same way it always has. For one more second, everything is ordinary. Then it isn't. What should be smooth and unremarkable seizes instead. A sudden, total absence of give, exactly where there should be none. Heat blooms fast and sharp, chemical, unmistakable, curing hard against skin and body heat in exactly the way the man at the supply store described. 10 seconds, give or take. Neither of them understands, in that first suspended second, what is happening. Then understanding arrives all at once, and with it, panic. Wait, Mark's voice cracks. Wait, something's wrong. Something's not. What is that? Chloe tries to shift, to pull back, and can't. Her voice climbs half an octave, fast, sharp. Mark, I can't move. I can't. Why can't I move? I don't know. Hold still. Just hold still for a second. Don't tell me to hold still. Get off. Get off me right now. She tries to pull away again, harder this time, and the attempt sends a jolt of pain through both of them at once. Bright and undeniable. A resistance neither of them can override, no matter how they shift or twist. Mark makes a sound that isn't a word, guttural, involuntary, and freezes completely. Stop. Stop pulling. It hurts. It actually hurts. You think I can't feel it too? His voice has lost every trace of its earlier ease, gone thin and fast and frightened. He tries a different angle, gentle this time, testing, and the resistance holds exactly the same, unyielding, absolute. It's not. Chloe, it's not coming apart. That's not possible. Things don't just. Lubricant doesn't do this. Nothing does this. I don't know what to tell you. Look at it. Just look. They stay locked in place for a long, horrified moment, both breathing hard, both afraid to move, and afraid not to. Chloe starts to cry. Short, furious gasps more than actual tears, her whole body rigid with the effort of staying still, because moving hurts, and not moving means accepting what's happening, and neither option offers anything close to relief. Try to sit up, she says, voice shaking, slowly. Maybe if we move together, maybe it'll loosen. Okay, slowly. On 3. 1. Wait, not yet. I'm not ready. We can't just sit here, Chloe. I know that. I know. Just, okay, go. They shift in careful, awkward tandem, every small correction sending fresh pain through the point where they're fused, and manage, After nearly a full minute of failed attempts and hissed instructions to get themselves upright and wrapped in the sheet, though it does nothing to change the fact that separating themselves from it, or from each other, is no longer an option available to them. Water, Chloe says suddenly. Try water. Hot water dissolves things, doesn't it? Please, just try. Okay, we can do that. Hold on to me. Don't twist. They make it to the bathroom in the same slow, locked shuffle, bumping the doorframe once, both of them crying out at the jolt. The shower runs scalding for nearly 2 full minutes with no change at all. If anything, the heat only seems to seal things further, until Mark finally reaches out and shuts the water off, breathing hard, soaked, defeated. It's not working, he says. It's not doing anything. Chloe, it's not doing anything. Then what do we do? What do we do, Mark? Tell me what we do. I don't know. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Something's wrong with it. Something's wrong with the bottle. This isn't normal. None of this is normal. Call someone. The front desk. Anyone. I don't care. And say what? What exactly am I supposed to tell them, Chloe? Come help my wife's husband and his girlfriend. They're stuck together in a hotel room? I don't care what you tell them. I need this off of me. Look at it. Just look at what's happening to us. Mark looks. The skin around the bond has gone an angry, inflamed red, swollen from the chemical heat and the strain of every failed attempt to pull free. And beneath the redness, the fusion sits glassy and rigid, unmistakably, catastrophically permanent-looking, in a way that finally, fully breaks through the last of his denial. Oh my God, he says, quieter now, the reality of it landing all at once. Oh my God, we need actual help, real help. We need to call 911. We can't call 911. Are you out of your mind? How am I supposed to explain this to a paramedic, to anyone? Do you have a better idea? Do you have any other idea at all? Because I don't have one, and my skin is going numb now too. I can feel it going numb, Chloe. Her breathing hitches into something close to a sob, and for a moment neither of them says anything, both staring down at the impossible, undeniable fact of what has happened to them, both testing it one last time with the smallest possible movement, both crying out again at the same bright, unbearable flare of pain. Okay, Chloe finally says, voice shaking, defeated. Okay, call them. Call them right now, before it gets any worse. Mark reaches for his phone on the bathroom counter with his free hand, fingers trembling badly enough that it takes him 2 tries to unlock the screen. He finds the keypad. He dials. 911. What's your emergency? Mark opens his mouth. Nothing comes out for a full second, his mind blank with panic, humiliation, disbelief, all colliding at once. I need... His voice breaks completely. I need paramedics. We're stuck together. We can't separate. I don't know how else to explain it. Please, please just send someone. Please hurry. It hurts. It really hurts. The knock comes 11 minutes later, hard and fast. 3 sharp raps followed immediately by a voice through the door. Fire department. Paramedics. Open up. The door's unlocked, Mark calls, hoarse, barely able to get the words out. Just come in, please. Just come in. The door swings open. 2 paramedics step through first, a man and a woman, moving with the brisk efficiency of people who have seen a great many strange calls and learned, long ago, not to let their faces show it. The woman, dark ponytail, name tag reading Rivera, takes one look at the bed, where Mark and Chloe sit locked together beneath a twisted sheet, faces pale, both of them trembling, and stops for exactly half a second longer than professional composure would normally allow. Okay, Rivera says, recovering fast, already crossing the room. I've got you both. Stay still. Don't try to separate any further. That's only going to make it worse. What happened? It was lubricant, Mark says, the words tumbling out fast, humiliation and panic, fighting for control of his voice. Massage lubricant. It's never done anything like this before. I don't understand what happened. It bonded. Instantly. Within seconds. Show me the bottle. The second paramedic, heavyset, Evans on his tag, is already crouched by the nightstand, scanning the floor. He finds the amber bottle where it rolled after Mark knocked it loose and picks it up carefully, with a gloved hand, turning it under the lamplight. This it? Yes, that's it. Evans sniffs the neck of the bottle, frowns, sniffs again. This isn't lubricant. He glances up at his partner. Rivera, smell this. Rivera leans over without letting go of the steady, careful grip she's kept on Chloe's shoulder. She inhales once. Her eyebrows go up. That's cyanoacrylate, she says. Medical grade. By the smell of it. That's superglue, not lubricant. That's not possible. Mark's voice cracks. That's not. I bought that bottle myself. It's always been the exact same brand. I don't understand how this could have happened. We can figure out the how later, Rivera says, already reaching for the radio clipped to her shoulder. Dispatch, we need a joint transport. 2 patients fused at point of contact, likely cyanoacrylate exposure, requesting burn unit standby at receiving. Chloe makes a small, broken sound, somewhere between a laugh and a sob. Fused. You just said fused, like we're actually stuck together, in front of everyone. Is that what's happening to us? I'm telling you, it's a strong bond, and we are not going to try to force anything apart here, Rivera says, gentler now, crouching down to Chloe's eye level. The hospital has solvents that can separate this safely, without tearing the skin. Trying to pull free right now, or moving too fast, is going to hurt you both worse. You did the right thing calling us. It doesn't feel like the right thing, Chloe says, voice cracking. It feels like the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. I know it does. Right now I just need you both to trust me, and stay as still as you can. Evans is already unfolding a wide vinyl-covered stretcher from the hallway, wheeling it in sideways to fit through the doorway, while the 2 firefighters accompanying them move furniture out of the way. A lamp, a chair, the small round table by the window, clearing a straight path from the bed to the door. We're going to need you both moved onto this together, Rivera says. I know how that sounds. It's the only way to transport you without straining the bond further. We'll get a sheet arranged properly, and we'll keep this as dignified as we possibly can manage. I promise you that. A sheet, Mark repeats, hollow, staring at her. A sheet, Rivera confirms, already pulling a clean one from her kit. Standard hospital-issue white linen, thin, and completely inadequate for the sheer amount of dignity it's about to be asked to preserve. It takes nearly 10 minutes, all 4 of them working in careful, coordinated silence, to get Mark and Chloe positioned onto the stretcher without wrenching the point where they're joined. Every small adjustment is met with a sharp intake of breath from one or both of them. Every readjustment is negotiated through Rivera's calm, clipped instructions. Left a little, just a little, that's it. Hold there. Don't twist your hip, just your shoulder. Good. You're doing good. Almost there. I don't think I can. You can. You're almost there. Just a few more inches. When they're finally settled, the sheet is draped over the 2 of them together and tucked carefully at the edges, and the effect is somehow worse than no sheet at all. A single white shape occupying the stretcher where there should logically be 2 separate people, 2 heads poking out at slightly misaligned angles, both faces slack with the particular exhaustion of people who have spent the last 25 minutes in a level of physical and emotional distress neither of them has any framework for processing. Here we go, Evans says, and the wheels of the stretcher squeal softly against the hotel carpet as he and the firefighters begin maneuvering it out through the door, down the narrow hallway, toward the elevator bank at the far end. The elevator ride down is almost entirely silent, save for the low mechanical hum of the cables and Chloe's shallow, uneven breathing. Mark stares straight up at the ceiling. Neither of them speaks. Neither of them, in this moment, seems to have anything left to say to the other. The doors slide open on the ground floor, directly onto the hotel lobby. It is not late enough to be empty. A rooftop event has just let out, and the lobby bar is doing brisk business. Couples in evening wear laughing near the counter. A small cluster of guests near the concierge desk still debating dinner reservations. Someone checking in at the front desk with a rolling suitcase. All of it stops, all at once, the instant the stretcher rolls into view, flanked by 2 firefighters, a single white sheet tented awkwardly over 2 distinctly separate but unmistakably conjoined shapes. The silence lasts about 2 seconds. Then the phones come out. "Oh my God," someone near the bar says, not quietly at all. Are there 2 people under there?" "Excuse me, coming through, please clear the path," Evans calls out, pushing the stretcher forward at a brisk, businesslike pace that does absolutely nothing to slow the small crowd now converging toward the center of the lobby. Phones raised. Several people already filming. A woman near the front desk, laughing behind her hand before catching herself. Mark turns his face away, toward the sheet, toward anything that isn't the sea of raised phones and wide, disbelieving eyes tracking their slow, humiliating procession across the marble floor. Chloe has stopped crying entirely by now. She has gone somewhere past tears, staring straight up at the lobby's high-vaulted ceiling with the blank, glassy expression of someone who has simply run out of reactions to give. "Sir, can you tell us what happened?" A man near the concierge desk actually steps forward, phone extended, as if this were a red carpet and not an emergency. Are you 2 actually stuck together?" "Sir, step back please," one of the firefighters says, firmer this time, angling his body between the man and the stretcher without breaking stride. Near the elevators, a group of women in cocktail dresses have stopped entirely, one with her hand pressed flat over her mouth, another already narrating quietly into her own phone camera. "I am not lying to you right now. There are 2 actual people under that sheet, and they are stuck together. I genuinely don't know how to explain what I'm looking at right now." The automatic doors at the front of the lobby part with a soft mechanical hiss, cool night air rushing in, carrying with it the flashing red and white lights of the ambulance idling at the curb. Rivera jogs ahead to open the rear doors, while Evans and the firefighters guide the stretcher down the short ramp, wheels rattling over the seam where the lobby floor meets the pavement outside. Behind them, the crowd in the lobby doesn't disperse. If anything, it grows, more people drifting over from the bar, from the elevators, from the check-in line, all of them craning for one last look, phones still raised, capturing the stretcher's final feet toward the open ambulance doors from every conceivable angle. The stretcher locks into place inside the ambulance with a metallic clunk. Rivera climbs in after it, already reaching for a blood pressure cuff, already speaking into her radio in the calm, practiced cadence of someone updating dispatch on vitals. The rear doors swing shut, sealing off the flashing lights, the crowd, the endless raised phones. The ambulance pulls away from the curb, siren rising into the night. Behind it, the Ashbourne's lobby is still full of people talking over one another, replaying their footage, already typing captions, already sending it to friends who won't believe a word of it until they see the video for themselves. The emergency room at St. Adresse Memorial is bright, sterile, and mercifully private. A curtained bay off the main trauma floor, cleared in advance once dispatch radioed ahead with the details. A doctor in blue scrubs, ID badge reading Dr. Okafor, stands over the joined pair with a small stainless tray of instruments and a bottle of clear solvent that looks, almost absurdly, like the very thing that started all of this. "This is going to be uncomfortable," Dr. Okafor says, snapping on a fresh pair of gloves. "I won't lie to either of you about that. Acetone-based solvents break the polymer bond, but it takes time, and the skin underneath is going to be raw once we're through. We'll use a barrier gel to protect the surrounding tissue, and we'll go slow, and we'll stop if it's too much for you to handle. Just get it off," Mark says, his voice stripped of every trace of the confidence he walked in with hours ago. "Please, whatever you have to do, just get it off. I need you both to hold as still as you possibly can. Any sudden movement is going to tear rather than release, and that's not something either of you wants right now." "I understand," Chloe says quietly. It's the first full sentence she's spoken since the lobby. A nurse pulls the privacy curtain fully closed and sets up an additional screen at Dr. Okafor's request, shielding them from the rest of the trauma floor. The process that follows takes nearly an hour, conducted in careful, methodical stages. Dr. Okafor works the solvent in slowly, testing the bond every few minutes with the gentlest possible pressure, waiting for the chemical to loosen its grip by fractions. "Any numbness?" Dr. Okafor asks, midway through. A little, Mark admits. It's better than before. Before it felt like nothing was there at all. That's a good sign. It means circulation's coming back as the bond weakens. She dabs more solvent along the edge, patient, unhurried. I know this feels like it's taking forever. It's actually going faster than I expected, given what you described. Doesn't feel fast, Chloe murmurs. No, Dr. Okafor agrees. I imagine it doesn't. Mark grits his teeth through most of it, jaw tight, eyes fixed on a point on the ceiling tile above him. Chloe cries quietly, steadily, the kind of crying that stopped being about any one specific thing a long while ago and became simply the body's way of processing an evening it never should have had to survive. Neither of them speaks to the other. There doesn't seem to be anything left to say that either of them wants said out loud. Not here. Not with a nurse and a doctor standing over them. Not after everything the last 4 hours have taken from both of them. When the separation finally comes, it comes suddenly. A soft, wet give. Both of them gasping at once at the sudden, unfamiliar absence of resistance. At hands and skin, finally, blessedly, their own again. The relief lasts about half a second before the pain underneath announces itself, raw and blistered. An angry welt already being dressed in gauze by the nurse before either of them has fully processed that it's actually over. You're both going to want to keep this covered and dry for the next several days, Dr. Okafor says, taping the last edge of gauze into place on Mark's hand. There's some second-degree blistering from the chemical heat. It'll heal, but it's going to be tender for a while, and there's a real chance it scars. Scar, Mark repeats, staring down at the bandaging like it belongs to somebody else's hand. Superficial, most likely, if you take care of it. You got lucky it wasn't worse. Some cases we see, the reaction goes deeper. Dr. Okafor strips off her gloves and drops them in the bin. I'll have someone bring the discharge paperwork and some information on wound care. Keep an eye out for infection, redness spreading, that kind of thing. Thank you, Chloe says softly, not quite looking at anyone. Dr. Okafor nods and steps out through the curtain, leaving a nurse behind to finish the paperwork on Chloe's side of the bay. Chloe is already sitting up in a chair, pulled up beside her portion of the bed, wrapped in a thin hospital blanket, knees drawn up toward her chest, staring at nothing. She hasn't looked at Mark since they were separated. She doesn't look at him now. Mark sits alone on the exam table, staring down at his bandaged hand, replaying, for what feels like the 100th time in the last several hours, exactly how any of this could have happened. The bottle was the same bottle. Same brand, same amber glass, same brushed steel cap, sitting in the same pocket of the same bag it had sat in every single Thursday for months. He was careful. He'd always been careful. Careful about routine, about consistency, about never letting anything slip that might give him away. He doesn't hear the curtain rings slide until they're already sliding. Clara walks in. She is dressed exactly the way she was dressed when he left the house 6 hours earlier. Same cardigan, same low ponytail, same unhurried, composed posture she's carried through every single day of their 11-year marriage. She doesn't look at the bandage first. She looks at his face. Clara. Mark's voice comes out strangled, disbelief and dread, colliding all at once. What are you? How did you even know I was here? The hospital called the emergency contact on file, Clara says evenly. That's still me, isn't it? I never got around to changing it. Mark doesn't answer. There's nothing in his face right now that resembles the man who kissed her goodbye 6 hours ago, with cologne on his neck and a lie already halfway out of his mouth. What's left is smaller than that. Frightened, undone. Clara sets her purse down on the empty chair beside the exam table, unhurried, and opens it. She removes 2 things. The first is a manila folder, thick with paper, a tab along the top edge printed in clean block letters, Petition for Dissolution of Marriage. She sets it down on his lap without ceremony, the way she might set down a grocery list she's finished checking off. You'll want a lawyer, she says. I already have one. Mine's very good. I'd recommend finding one who's at least adequate, given the circumstances you're currently in. Clara, wait, just wait. Let me explain. This isn't what it looks like. I can explain the hotel. I can explain Chloe. You don't need to explain anything. Clara's voice doesn't rise. It doesn't need to. I've known about Chloe for 4 months. I've known about the Ashbourne for 5 Thursdays. I know your gym membership has been frozen since March, and I know the coach and the sparring partner named Danny don't exist, because I called and checked myself. So please don't waste what's left of tonight explaining something I documented weeks before you ever thought to lie about it. Mark stares at her. Something in his expression finally shifts from confusion into a slower, colder kind of understanding. The same understanding that's been creeping up on him since the shower failed to loosen anything, since the paramedics smelled something wrong in the bottle, since a doctor confirmed out loud that what had bonded him to another woman was industrial-grade adhesive and not, under any circumstance, a $60 bottle of massage oil. You did this, he says, very quietly, like the words cost him something to assemble. You knew. I know a great many things, Mark. Clara reaches back into her purse and produces the second item. A plain plastic bottle, drugstore brand. The kind that costs $6 and comes with a pump top instead of a steel cap. She sets it down on top of the folder beside his bandaged hand. That's an actual bottle of massage oil. In case you and Chloe want to give recovery routines another try sometime, I'd recommend reading the label first, this time, before you use it. Behind the curtain, a nurse's voice murmurs something to another patient, oblivious, ordinary. The sound of a hospital continuing exactly as it always does, while Mark sits frozen, staring at the folder and the bottle sitting together on his lap like two halves of the same closing sentence. Clara, he says. And there's nothing left in his voice now but the raw, stripped-down sound of a man watching the last version of his life close its door for good. Please, we can talk about this. We can fix this. There's nothing to fix, Clara says. There was never anything to fix. There was only something to end, and I ended it tonight, on my own terms, in exactly the way I chose to end it. She picks her purse back up off the chair, settles it onto her shoulder, and looks at him one final time. Not with anger, not with grief, but with the same cool, unhurried clarity she's carried since the first Thursday she noticed the cologne didn't match the story he was telling. The papers are self-explanatory. My attorney will be in touch about the timeline. She glances briefly toward the curtain separating him from Chloe's side of the bay, then back to him. I hope the two of you are very happy together. God knows you've certainly been through enough tonight to earn it. She turns and walks out through the curtain without waiting for a response. Her footsteps unhurried against the tile, steady and even, all the way down the corridor and out through the emergency room's sliding glass doors into the cool night air beyond. Behind her, Mark sits alone on the exam table, one bandaged hand resting on a folder that will end his marriage, the other still trembling faintly from an evening that started with an ordinary lie and ended with paramedics, a public spectacle, and a wife who had been 3 steps ahead of him the entire time.